Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. And to start off, I have a question for you all. Have you bought any more crypto this week? And the most important reason I'm asking is because I honestly think people need to get into crypto as soon as possible, and I'm saying this mostly as a friend to you. Now, does this mean the same for everybody? No, but what I'm trying to say is right now, a lot of major parties like BlackRock, the biggest asset managers in the world, and quite a significant amount of others, have already started to adopt or allow for the purchase of crypto. But a couple of these major milestones have not been hit. Like, for example, a mainstream Apple wallet of sorts, right? It's not been hit just quite yet. And that makes me think, right? If you buy before that happens, you're still considered early in my book, which is right now. And all I'm trying to say is make sure you realize this. And Apple will get into crypto. I think it's best to buy before that's officially done. Just wanted to quickly get that out the way. All right, in terms of news, little piece of juicy update. They legalized Bitcoin mining over in Russia to showcase yet again how backwards the US is right now. I'm not so sure exactly why they're doing it this way, but they are, and so Russia's doing a pretty good job. People asking for source should please learn how to use Google. Just go to Google and type in whatever I posted, and if it does not show up on like 7 different news websites, then come back to me. Also, to quickly add, somebody says, you told you XRP was going to the moon in 24 hours many times, and we're still waiting. To this comment, all I can say is, I am not the XRP master or anything like that, nor do I want to make any false promises. It serves me no purpose. If I ever say it's going to moon, it depends on your own criteria of what mooning is. But more importantly, if it doesn't happen, I think I might be even more let down than you are. We're all in the same boat, so I'm not exactly sure what the comment is for. Just understand that I in no way, shape, or form want to tell you it's gonna moon and then it doesn't. That serves me literally no purpose at all. We're all in the same boat, and I have no extra additional insider info. All we do is just look at the info that's presented to us and make the best out of it. And so most of the time, I think this is just about our trades, but whenever I do tweet out that it's going to moon, it usually does, unless it's a question, but all right. Now, Ripple CTO, which is David Schwartz, he recommends Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano, by the way, to actually go ahead and take a little time out after the Cardano co-founder called the XRP army toxic. I must add, let's try this out. Everybody, if you're watching this video right now, try pressing that like button. Let's see the amount of people that will actually go ahead and press that like button from within the XRP community. If you're holding XRP right now, let's just try it out and comment down below, I am an XRP holder. All right, something like that. Just comment it down below. The reason I'm telling you guys this is because I've noticed a significant shift over the last 6-7 months. And that is from being pretty positive to mediocrely, because a year or two ago, things were just amazing before the lawsuit started. Things started to get really bad as the lawsuit started, but right now things are really bad, where the negativity is just out of this world. And I kind of want to test if the XRP army really is toxic or not. Let's just see. Let's all just get it going. Let's see what happens, right? But that's besides the point. So the Ripple CTO, David Schwartz, asked Charles Hoskinson to wait a few days and decide whether he wants to call the XRP army toxic. The Cardano co-founder claimed that XRP has no partnership or technical value and the community is toxic. Now that is where you're literally insulting too many people. Has no partnership or technical value? What is this guy saying? Cardano is so great. I'm a big Cardano fan. I'm a Cardano holder. But you can't go criticizing XRP for this. You know, it's like a little bit too hypocritical. XRP price fared better than Cardano when compared year on year, despite the US SEC lawsuit and criticism from industry players. And I kind of want to leave it at that. You know, we can roast Charles Hoskinson for another hour or two. I can definitely do that right here. But let's just keep this man's dignity intact just a little bit, as he's already just lost a lot of credibility with this, in my opinion, baseless and stupid statement. Let's just keep him in his value for right now. Let's not go too heavy on this guy. Let's move on with some more news. All right, Elon will be stepping down from Twitter as the head of Twitter, right? He basically held a poll, 17 million votes, and the people said, yep, step down, and so he's going to. I personally said no. I kind of wanted to see what he had in pocket, but he's going to be stepping down. Grayscale is exploring options to return a portion of its GBTC, and Sam Bankman-Fried no longer contests extradition to the U.S. Little pieces of news. Are these important? On their own, no. But it's nice to see, I guess, some juicy updates in the biggest factors of the cryptocurrency markets, I guess, downfall. We, of course, have all the Binance FUD, but there's not really any update to that right now. Grayscale being illiquid or I guess the price just going down so significantly is one of the biggest parts. And Sam Bankman-Fried's whole story of him going to prison and potentially being extradited to the U.S. is also a big story. And again, in terms of what's happening for those, Grayscale are exploring some options to do something, and Sam Bankman-Fried is no longer contesting to get, going to the U.S. He wanted to go, I believe, because I think he said Bahamian prison was awful. All right, a little piece on Hester Pierce, an SEC commissioner. We need to make sure that it's not regulation that's picking winners and losers. It's people who are picking winners and losers. That's what she said about crypto. Now, we need to understand that regardless of what they say, the actions that are being put into place are significantly slower than what they're making it out to be. Again, I still think they need to go after Gary Gensler because the approach that they aim for and that they're vouching for is not the way which things are going. And she rightfully so states that it shouldn't be, but then again, it means nothing if she says it, but it's not being put into action, right? Talking about saying things versus putting into action. In Nigeria, after banning crypto usage in early last year, Nigeria may soon pass a bill recognizing Bitcoin and other crypto in order to develop an efficient capital market and avoid falling behind with global practices. This is what I would have expected the US to do as well, but they're not doing so. The report that it stated that if the Investments and Securities Act 2007 amended bill is signed into law, it would allow the local Securities and Exchange Commission, again, the Nigerian SEC, to recognize crypto and other digital funds as capital for investment. Like I said earlier during the second reading, we need an efficient and vibrant capital market in Nigeria, and for us to do that, we have to be up to date with global practices, the House of Representatives Committee on Capital Markets Chairman Babangida Ibrahim said. So it's pretty good as well. We talked some bullish news over in Russia, a little bullish news over in Nigeria. It's just nice to read a little bit more about that. All right, a little piece. Again, I wanted to also have some Binance news in there. Binance US is apparently trying to kind of bail out Voyager. Voyager said Binance US would try and return crypto to Voyager's customers based on court-approved disbursements. And again, that's basically what's going on right now. They won a bid to acquire the Voyager assets, and they're going to try and make people whole again. That's a really big thing. I'm really excited for that, and that's all good. Two more pieces. Sam Trabucco, the former CEO of Alameda, he basically says, hey, FTX and Alameda were completely different things. That's what the entire video is about. Not exactly sure why Alquin Daily here thought that was such a big deal. I personally think we all knew it were two different things, and regardless of what they state, we don't know what's right, what's wrong, we don't know what's lies and what's the truth, so why bother listening to these guys? They'll testify in front of court soon enough, and they don't listen, because at that point, if they're caught in a lie, it's going to be a really big thing. Right now, it's all just words, it's all just blabber mouthing, but it means absolutely nothing because, oh no, but I didn't know anything about FTX. Duh, that's what I would have said as well, right? If you're in a position like this, and all the pressure is on you. All these guys are calling you a massive scammer. This guy's just fighting for us. But I didn't know anything. Duh, he's going to say that. He doesn't want to be the bad guy in all of this. He doesn't want to take accountability. If you listen to his voice, you understand why I'm saying that. And then Mark Brown had an interesting article tagged here. Is Ripple ready? Swift's latest innovation targets 500 banks in 120 countries. And apparently, Ripple's ODL now supports 40 payout markets. I didn't actually know that. Wasn't even up to date with this. Now, again, one of the things we're going to have to start doing a lot more, now that the Ripple lawsuit is concluding, is covering more of the in-depths about the XRP ledger, Ripple's progress, and these banking connections, like we were doing before the lawsuit even started. And there are full stories, and we can spend hours and hours on this, and I think tomorrow is going to be a day where we cover a little bit more about XRP utility and how things are coming along. But take a look at this, for example. Zacchaeus says, I wonder what the implementation of Swift GPI. My understanding is that project was a prep, and there's a lot of DLT related fields in their new standard documents, and the cross-border payment speed increased. I was betting that R3 is under the hood, but I don't have any proof. And then he responds, or Bob Wade responds, saying GPI was a Swift's response to Ripple pitching banks. It was partially my fault because I spent a long time talking to Wim and Gottfried at the Bitcoin Amsterdam conference, explaining how the XP ledger worked and how banks can integrate with it. It kind of seems like a little bit of a joke, but Anders responds saying, well, according to Swift, GPI would include a range of benefits, such as real-time tracking of funds, full visibility of fees, and consistent data records, etc. I know real-time tracking and visibility of funds is something Ripple said Swift lacked, so what's your thought on that? Well, Bob, I'm not sure if you responded, but he basically wanted to state as well, seems they did a good job at getting them to understand, because not too long afterwards they had copied our entire pitch, almost slide for slide and diagram for diagram. But GPII wasn't new technology at all, it was merely an improved service level agreement. The SLA said in effect, participating banks agree to process incoming SWIFT messages faster, but it didn't give them any new technology to make that happen. Banks had to update their own internal processes to speed them up. It is helpful if you think of SWIFT as Gmail. It's an interbank email service run by a single company. Originally, SWIFT was even responsible for the phone data lines that connected physical locations, so I think of SWIFT messages as being fast as email. Now, at some point, GPI was just a status thing among banks. It's kind of explaining how, other pieces started to update. For SWIFT, it was competitive marketing against Ripple. It was intended to show that SWIFT was still the thought leader in the banking space. Others were upgrading, so SWIFT had to upgrade. Then it's talking about the ISO 20022 as to it being a pretty easy fix for just upgrading once instead of many small strange times. And the major takeaway here is actually two things. One, things are happening way different in the background than, well, what comes to the foreground and what might meet the eye. These banks are constantly developing. Many ideas get brought in but are actually too trivially stupid and then just get thrown back out. And it's a really big game of, well, whoever has the newest technology might be the leader if everybody agrees to that. The thing with banks is they all want to be the best, but none of them want to change the first because you might mess it up. We all know that Ripple and Swift could surely work together, and a lot of parts actually come with the fact that Swift might want to work with them because they already have technology that, well, they can try to replicate, but it's not their expertise because they've tried to replicate it, obviously. But I believe from all the studies that Swift has done, it never really worked out with a public token. And so potentially through that, they might want to work with Ripple to kind of facilitate this missing little piece. And you also got to understand, well, to a certain extent, every single service provider wants to just copy whatever others have done and do it for themselves because they will lend them more money. But sometimes it's easier to work with another party because it could save you so much time, and time is of essence in almost every single field, to actually go ahead and develop all this technology yourself. And so could Swift do a lot of the things which Ripple is doing right now? Probably yes, but it'd take too much time, where at that point Ripple would have also developed and the whole banking standard is different. And that's because Ripple has, to a certain extent, had a different prophecy than Swift has. And so being complements to one another, well, it would help Ripple be included in so many different parts of the current system, and Swift help develop their own currently lacking system of things. It would just be additives, it would be additions to what they have currently. And I guess that's also to a certain extent why sometimes this ISO 20022 pops up. Ripple was very much focused to getting everybody to this new standard, and it is going to be the next standard for the major platforms, And you might be reading about all these competitions that Swift is having with Ripple. Honestly, it could be that to a certain extent, Swift doesn't want to cooperate with Ripple and will just try to keep competing. It's possible, but that would also be a good thing because the fact that you just can't throw them out, but they have to compete is the same thing as with Coca-Cola and Pepsi, for example. There's room for both. And I don't know, this is just all pretty exciting stuff. You have to sometimes think a little layer deeper, and tomorrow I think we're going to go dive a lot deeper into all of this because I think it's pretty exciting. We'll unroll this thread a little bit further, dive a little bit into the whole Swift Ripple debacle. I'm going to take my time to really look through this, but it's just hopefully a little bit of an eye-opener as to how things are really changing a lot more in the background that we're not noticing that much because of all this lawsuit shenanigans. But that was it for right now. Make sure you press the like button if you enjoyed it. See you guys later.